Welcome back to my channel. I'm Noe Rose. I grew up in Tahiti, surrounded by the ocean, always looking beyond the horizon, wondering what existed on the other side of it. Before this life, before the cameras and a constant movement, I spent years working in mental health, studying people, listening to their stories, trying to understand what makes us feel connected, fulfilled, and alive. But somewhere along the way, I realized understanding life intellectually wasn't enough for me anymore. So now I travel, mostly solo, not to collect countries, but to understand how places shape people and how they quietly shape us in return. And that's really what these vlogs are. Not highlight reels, more like fragments of experiences, conversations, moments that reveal something honest about the world and sometimes about myself too. And today's vlog became one of those experiences I know I'll carry with me forever. Not because it was spectacular, but because it was sincere. I think one of the biggest misconceptions about travel is that memorable experiences always arrive dramatically. The big view, the perfect sunset, the moment everything changes. But honestly, some of the experiences that stay with me the most and the longest are much quieter than that. A conversation with a stranger, someone taking the time to explain something with care and passion, the feeling of being welcomed into a place instead of simply passing through it. I only had 4 hours in Pohang that morning. My driver picked me up at 10. We stopped for coffee at Arrangement, and in my head, the plan was very simple. Visit Bogyeongsa Temple, maybe hike to the waterfall if time allowed, and see what else I could do before needing to head back. That was it. Nothing dramatic, nothing cinematic. But travel has a strange way of humbling our expectations sometimes, because what ended up staying with me had nothing to do with the waterfall at all. In my last vlog, Serena and I spent a day wandering through the real-life filming locations of hometown Cha-Cha-Cha here in Pohang. Chongha Village, Wolpo Beach, Yoon Dental Clinic, the Red Lighthouse, the little streets and storefronts that somehow became emotionally real for millions of people that watched the drama around the world. What surprised me the most wasn't how beautiful it was, but how ordinary it felt. Quiet, coastal, unhurried, and maybe that's exactly what people connect to so deeply. Because places like that remind us of a softer version of life, one many people are afraid is disappearing. By the end of the day, Serena took the train back to Busan, and I found myself alone again in Pohang, which is where this next part of the journey begins. After enjoying a delicious coffee and pastries at this cafe, we headed out. Bogyeonsa sits quietly in the mountains, surrounded by forests and hiking trails known for helping people reset and reconnect with themselves. And immediately, the atmosphere felt different from the coast. Cooler air, wind moving through the trees, temple bells echoing softly somewhere in the distance. The kind of place that doesn't ask for your attention loudly, but slowly earns it. And then something completely unexpected happened. One of the English-speaking docents happened to be there that morning. He wasn't even supposed to come in that day. And somehow, I ended up receiving what felt like a completely private tour of the temple and its history. Looking back now, that conversation became the real experience. What follows is mostly him speaking, sharing the stories, symbolism, and meaning behind different parts of the temple. And honestly, I think it's better that way. Because sometimes the most meaningful thing you can do while traveling isn't talk. It's listening. So this is mostly for you out there who love history.
of enlightenment. That's what it says.
Gate of enlightenment. How wonderful of you to volunteer here as a docent.
Buddhism is nothing to do with my personal faith, but I can't deny the fact that Buddhism has been the mainstream of Korean culture and philosophy and thoughts. So I, like every Korean, have been greatly indebted to what we have and what we are today, by Buddhism. In the old days, like 10 centuries ago or so, the leading intelligentsia, with little exception, they were all young Buddhist monks. They were very courageous enough to go as far as India. 99% of them had not succeeded coming back, They got killed on their way down to India or on their way back to Korea, But 1% of young Buddhist monk who has successfully come back to Korea with certain things, the unknown to our society at the time, with new thoughts and new cultures. They designed the reconstruction and renovation of Korean societies and political and economic systems. My argument would be what we have as a language, Hangul, very unique and one of the most efficient letter systems throughout the world, Even there are many powerful nations in Europe, but they do not have their own letter systems, but we do. It's been a long time. King Sejong, he publicly announced that the Korean letter system should be, used by the people, especially at the grassroots level, or who were less privileged, underprivileged. So they could lead a better life, with wisdom rather than with ignorance. Not even as a king, but he's a very honest and passionate wish he would like to realize, and he did it. He publicly announced the invention of Korean alphabet system in 1443, long time ago. Thanks to him and his led a group of excellent scholars, we do have beautiful Korean letter system.
Yes,
as it is today. That gate is called Gate of Four Guardian Kings. Each of them is in charge of each cardinal directions. This gate, by the scripture of Buddhism, each of these kings is supposed to be in the middle of the Mount Sumeru, protecting the sanctuary where the Buddha and countless number of bodhisattvas are believed to reside. Up near the top or on the top of the mountain Sumeru. Among these four guardian kings, I particularly like the Hwangmokchanang, who is in charge of the western direction, because there's an interesting story about his ugly eyes, all of these kings were the indigenous deities of Hinduism in the ancient India. And what Buddhism was wise was its attitude towards the foreign cultures and the other external things. They were not hesitant to accept anything from the outside sphere of its philosophical doctrines. So these indigenous deities of Hinduism were embodied into the Buddhist philosophies, and they changed their position as guardian kings protecting the Shakyamuni Buddha and his sanctuaries. Maybe into the This stone pagoda was built during Koryo dynasty.
And another pagoda.
Another pagoda. Call for great hero, Shakyamuni Buddha is the founder of the Buddhism, so he has been called a great hero. The left one is called Palsangja, hold for 8 different pictures. It's the whole life story of Shakyamuni is described into 8 pieces of different paintings from his early birth and then his nirvana. 8 different.
And it's always in 8 panels.
Right. Because number 4, 8, 12 they do have special symbolic meanings itself. And has lived in this temple, leading a huge group of Buddhist monks. Some of them, for instance, as that scene, of preaching. And next building I would like to introduce is also very unique and interesting, showing a very fascinating, Buddhist philosophy regarding the death of human beings. This building is called for Myeongbujeon, or Judge Kings. Once you pass away, your afterlife destiny is not decided until these 10 kings finish their judgment. It takes the whole 3 years. The first judgment is a week after one's death. That's the first court roll. From the first one to the 7th court roll, it takes 49 days. Like every weekend, every week, you have verdicts.
Yes.
And then after 7 verdicts, you still have 3 more to go. Then on 100th day after one's death, you have 8th court roll. And a year after your death, then you will have 9th court roll. And your final destination will be decided after 3 years after your death, depending on the 10th verdict of the 10th king.
Wow. So during those 3 years, you are an angel? Or do you go and serve?
You went through the whole
Court,
process of judgments. your destiny is not decided yet. But after the final verdict, then sometimes if you have led an awful life, you will get into the world of animals. Or if you have led a very righteous life, then you will be born again as a human being, or you could even born in the upper world of divinity.
Yes. It's so beautiful. By the time the tour ended, I realized I had completely forgotten about the waterfall, which is funny because that's what I thought I had come here for. I think modern travel trains us to move constantly, see more, capture more, keep going, and yet some of the most meaningful experiences happen when you unexpectedly stop moving for a while. Standing there listening to him speak about the temple, its history, the symbolism hidden in the architecture, the philosophy behind the details most people walk past without noticing, I felt something I haven't felt enough in modern life. Patience, not performance, not urgency, just someone taking the time to share knowledge carefully, passionately, because it mattered to him. At the end, I tried to thank him with a tip. He wouldn't take it. That stayed with me almost as much as the temple itself, because it reminded me that not every meaningful exchange in life is transactional. Some people give simply because they genuinely want to share something with you, which is so rare these days, especially where I live. And I think that's part of what I've been falling in love with here in Korea. Korea is complicated, beautiful, deeply modern, and deeply ancient at the same time. But underneath all of that, there's still this quiet respect for knowledge, history, ritual, effort, and human connection. Places like Bogyeonsa remind you that there are still parts of the world where people dedicate entire lifetimes to preserving meaning, not because it's profitable, but because they believe it matters. I came here thinking I was short on time, but for a few hours that morning, a complete stranger gave me his full attention, his knowledge, and his kindness. And maybe that's the real reason I travel. Not just to see beautiful places, but to encounter moments that quietly restore your faith in people again.